You have three responsibilities. One, you got to be happy. If you think that life is about getting titles and having a certain balance sheet and things of that nature, you're kidding yourself.
Mm.
That's not what it is. You got to find a way to be happy and do things that make you happy. That's the first thing. The first property I ever bought, I was 20, 24, 23, 24. It was a place to live in. It was in 2002, so I might have been 25. But it was a place to live in Alexandria, Virginia. So I buy this condo, I think for like 130, if I can remember right. And it was at the beginning of the 2000 boom cycle for real estate. So timing happened, a little bit of luck happened. 3 months later, the one next door, same floor plan, sold for 30 grand more. And I was like, what is that? So I called my father, and my father explained equity to me. And I was like, what? So me being the inquisitive dude I was back in the day, I'm still this way. I run to the library. There's no Google. There's Yahoo just stopped.
Right.
Nothing. I went to the library at Fairfax County, Virginia Library, aisle 6, which is the business aisle. And I started reading on real estate and equity. Holy shit, I just made someone's salary. So then by the end of the year, back then you could get mortgages so easy. It was ridiculous.
Sure.
By the end of the year, I bought 10 more. I was like, wait, I'm on to something. Remember, my why was I want that freedom.
Right.
I had the why. So I was like, no, I just found something. So here's how the real estate journey worked. I started buying these condos, and this real estate agent told me something really good. She changed my life. I can't remember her name. She was in her 70s back then, so I think she's probably passed by now. And she said to me, look, Maurice, you bought that condo. Now I bought my first investment condo, which was like 90 grand. She was like, don't go out to DC. Because I told her, I was like, let's go in DC and let's go get something like 300 grand, 400 grand. She's like, don't do that. I said, why? She said, Maurice, instead of going to get the big dodo egg, just get 12 dozen little things and over the years pay them off. I said, what you mean? She's like, well, if you pay them off, and let's say each one is making $1,000 after the mortgage is gone, you've created a salary for life. You created a pension which most people will never have.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me. It stuck with me in my mid-20s. So what I did was I would buy a condo, buy a condo, buy a condo. Any cash flow that came from the condo, I would couple it with my paycheck, buy another one, couple it with my paycheck, buy another one. I never used the money. I kept buying them. And then eventually I got up to 35 in 2014.
Wow.
Sold a bunch of them that had equity, paid off 18s, and I found myself with 160 grand of passive income at age 38.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm technically free.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. But just to show you that life is not about money, I kept working another 8 years because I had other goals. Like, it's not money. It's what can you do with it? So I did the condo run. Then I wanted to grow. So I flipped to apartment buildings, and I started buying apartment buildings and mobile home parks because I needed to learn. I needed to learn something new. And then I met my now partners, and we formed this company called Quattro Capital in 2020. And we've done about $200 million worth of apartment complexes in the last 3 years, syndicating them, right?
Yeah.
And then that has led to lifestyle related choice. I'm on my third real estate life now, where I made a connection, and my now partner, and I call him my brother, he's Cypriot, so he lives in Cyprus. He was always a real estate developer. I went over, invested in that relationship, and now we're developing real estate on the island.
Wow.
It's been this amazing, and it was all because a 15-year-old kid was like, I want to do that. I want to have that kind of life.
Yeah. Well, I'd even say it's because your dad was smart enough to say, let me send you somewhere where you can get another perspective. And that allowed you that ripple effect of one decision helped you be where you are today. And now you're doing that with your kids.
It's my father I've explained that to him, but he doesn't quite understand the level of throughput and output of my life because he sent me to that one place. He can't put his finger on it. But yeah, man, it changed my life. And again, real estate's great, but it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's just like you could do other stuff. So when people talk to me like, oh, I want to do real estate. I'm like, what? Why? I just happened to choose it for the path that I wanted to go down. And now I help other people achieve financial freedom faster than I did. But, the journey was about, like, I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. And now I do. Like, I'm in DC today. I'll be in Lebanon in three or 4 days. Then I'll be back in Cyprus. And I tell people that I have built a lifestyle I don't need a vacation from.
I love that.
I work remotely. I purposely don't have employees. I don't want any employees. I virtualized all my mail. I can pick up this laptop, grab my cell phone. I'm a great travel hacker. I know how to get across the world. I don't know. I built something good, but it was because I wanted a free lifestyle, man. It was not driven by money at all.
Let's talk about that with your dad, and now you as a dad.
Yeah.
It sounds like your kids are getting it because they're traveling quite a bit, but
yeah.
What is it that you hope to pass on to your kids that you've received, number one, obviously, but number two, that will grow them even more than maybe you have grown?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? As a father, I know I want my son to do better than me.
Yeah. So what I tell my kids now is you have 3 responsibilities in life. And I'm not going to get into the whole college debate. I don't think we need college to be successful anymore.
I agree.
Like my oldest went, my youngest, I was like, dude, if you want to go, but dad's not going into debt for it. You're going to go to state school. You're going to, you do what you want. But you have 3 responsibilities. 1, you got to be happy. If you think that life is about getting titles and having a certain balance sheet and things of that nature, you're kidding yourself. That's not what it is. You got to find a way to be happy and do things that make you happy. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to make money grow. You have to learn how to make money grow. The economic empowerment in the way that we live in the US is a deal breaker, a game changer. If you know how to take $1 and turn it into 3 over 5 years, you will be okay, because this whole system that we're in is designed to take money out of your pocket. There are speed cameras and toll cameras and taxes, and you have to learn how to make money grow, because you cannot work yourself to financial freedom. It's not possible.
Yeah, not
you
possible.
have to invest your way to financial freedom. And then the third thing is you can design your life. So let me give you an example. I just told you my life. It's Mediterranean. It's employee free. It's totally remote. I'm minimalistic. I have little footprint. I don't buy a lot of stuff. My 2005 Infiniti with 200,000 miles is right outside the house. I could go buy 10 Mercedes. I just don't want them, right? My oldest son, when he got out of college, he told me, he's like, Dad, I don't want to sit in an office. I said, oh, baby, what do you want to do? Well, I was good at athletics, Dad, but, obviously I'm not going to the NFL or anything like that. I said, oh, that's okay. If you feel, and my oldest son is autistic, by the way, but very high functioning. And he goes, people respect me in the athletic domain because he's incredibly athletic. What you want to do? Bodybuilding. Okay. If the outcome of what you want is bodybuilding, then we're going to reverse engineer that. Let's go, first of all, don't worry about the what. Let's worry about the who. I don't know how to bodybuild, but let's go find someone who does. So I hired a former Mr. Olympia competitor to train my kid. Okay, here's the bill for that, Jalen. You have to get a job to cover the bill for that and to cover your living needs. If you can do that, plus add a little bit of money on top of that and buy 1 investment property a year, you'll be done when you're 35, 36, but you're living the lifestyle that you want. Reverse engineer the lifestyle you want. Don't accept the status quo default of what everybody is telling you is success.
Right.
Which is where people make a mistake, which is where someone coming out of college is like, Professor Thomas told me Amazon is the best company, so I'm going to go to San Francisco, work for them. Now you're stuck in San Francisco and you never wanted to be there in the first place.
Yep.
Those 3 things. Be happy, learn how to make money grow, reverse engineer your life. Yes, you can. It's called lifestyle design, which is what I coach people on through Try Life On.
Well, I want to ask you about that because you deal with so many professionals and entrepreneurs who you would think, for being professionals and entrepreneurs, at least claiming that they'd have this down. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to say, like, that reverse engineering idea is so crucial for people, I think, to understand. We tend to, I'll go first place. I think sometimes in life, I could have found myself just dealing with how life is presenting itself and then dealing with that and acting as if I have no control over it. It's just life's going to happen to me and I'll figure it out. As opposed to, no, if I want something, I decide what I want and then reverse engineer that, take the steps, knowing life will happen. But if I have the plan and if I have the goal and the aim, it's going to make getting through that stuff a lot easier. Matter of fact, a lot of times it won't even bother me. It's like, oh, cool. That's a problem.
If you set the intention If you set the intention, they talk about the reticular activating system in our brain all the time. If you set the intention and put your goals on the wall, like I have my goals on the wall all the time, you will consciously do things to get those goals, but your body will unconsciously do shit for you all the time. You don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because you set the intention. You didn't just accept the status quo of what you're supposed to be. Set the intention, reverse engineer it, go get the life you want. And that's not about money. That's life. Like we can have the life we want. So I'm very particular about that. I'm glad you brought that up again.
I think that's so powerful. So let's talk about some of the entrepreneurs and the professionals you work with, because, like I said, sometimes I think I might get a little, I don't know if jaded is the right word, but I've been an entrepreneur for now 20 years and I've seen all types of different entrepreneurs. And it always does surprise me when you find somebody and they either don't have that mindset or they don't have the focus and they're an entrepreneur, but their mindset is still that of a laborer, right? They're working in their business continually.
Right.
Tell me who your ideal client is when it comes to like, oh, I want to work with this person because either it's going to a challenge or it's going to make it easier. Like when you think about your ideal client, who are the ones that just get you excited?
Well, it's typically mid-level. Well, the funny thing is college kids are showing up now for my coaching.
Oh, interesting.
Which is awesome, because I'm like, hey, you're in your building phase. You're in the phase of your life where you should be grinding, should be experimenting with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the fact that you are thinking about designing your life now, you're way ahead of people. Way ahead. But my ideal client is a mid-professional who's been around for a while, probably 15 years into their career, or even sometimes a more senior professional who maybe they make a lot of money, but they still don't have money on a day-to-day basis because they've ingratiated themselves to debt and things of that nature. They feel something. There is an inherent gut feeling of something is wrong. I shouldn't be living this way. I am pressing repeat in this rat race and I'm not getting anywhere. The goalpost keeps moving. I was my ideal client because in 1997, when I started in corporate, nothing wrong with corporate. There's something wrong with the way we leverage it. There's nothing wrong with corporate. But when I started, analyst, consultant, manager, senior manager, and then you're supposed to make partner. When I got to senior manager and got promoted in 2013, so that's 15 years into my career, something hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, I'm not getting more free by climbing the ladder. I'm just getting more responsibility relative to the money. So when I got asked to go into the partner track 4 times, I declined it. Because for the extra 50 grand I would have made, that would have added 30, 40 hours of responsibility and maybe 300, 400 people. So something in my stomach was like, this is not the way that I want to be living, right? So my focus changed. And even though I was doing real estate, I was doing it, but I was getting caught in the rat race, if you will. Here's what happened. And this is my ideal client. I said to myself, nope, I'm going to focus on the highest paid positions for the least amount of hours. I'm going to store away 50 to 60% of my paychecks because I was a minimalist anyway. I'm going to continue to invest in real estate. I'm going to invest in relationships. I'm going to invest in experiences, and I'm going to invest in designing my life. It's just, so I had the forward leaning thought process to do it, and I'm good at just doing and course correcting along the way. My ideal client is looking for a framework on how to do it. And I now have frameworks on how to do it. So I have clients who have left the brick and mortar. They now have virtual jobs. They're buying assets in the background for later. They have moved to Portugal for a new lifestyle. They have taken their kids out of brick and mortar school and are now doing virtual school, and the kids are happier. I'm not saying you have to travel, but being mobile in life is what we used to do as kids.
Yeah.
That's how we were exploring. Adults don't explore anymore, right? It's the person who has the gut feeling and is like, I don't know what to do. And I'm telling you, I do know what to do. And I get to help them dramatically. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We got like 75 people who've been through my coaching in a chat group now. So we're all tribe and we support each other, and people are changing their lives and giving up, in some certain cases, giving up the W-2, but in other cases, like leveraging it very different than they used to, etc. That's what's happening.
Way smart. I love that, leveraging the W-2 thing. Because I years ago, I used to coach in real estate, and you get those people that would get on the first call and be like, "Hey, want to quit my job in 2 months, in 4 months or whatever.
Oh, no.
Like, okay, well, wait a minute. Like, you have a job right now. How much is it paying you? Oh, $100K a year. Okay. Well, why don't you just let them feel like they're paying you to do this other thing until you build that up?
Yeah.
I know the commercial will tell you can, somebody made one deal and retired. I get it. But the reality is it's going to take a little bit of time. Let's respect the process and do that. And like how you mentioned your story of going up the corporate ladder and realizing just more responsibilities. I feel like oftentimes everyone seeks security in some way, right?
Yeah.
Could be physical, could be mental, whatever. But the more secure in the corporate world that I've found, and I agree with you, I think there's definitely a place for that in the world and in our economy. But the more and more security you seek, where do we put the most secure people in the world? We put them in prison, right? They're the most secure. They don't have to make decisions. They're safe. They're not getting out. They're going to get their 3 meals a day, all that stuff. But I did find it interesting that you mentioned, almost like in passing, that even though you had found the real estate key, even though it was giving you this passive income lifestyle, you still found yourself getting caught up in the rat race.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that it shows me the conditioning.
Because check this out. I really thought about this a lot. 20 to 30 years of formal education has told us what to be and how to act.
Yes.
Okay. So check this out. When we were in kindergarten and grade school, we throw paint, eat glue, like we were creative, we were exploring. We were unstructured but structured. All right. That's freedom. Now, then we move into middle school, junior high, and it starts to be compliance. Johnny, sit forward. I'm going to send a note home to your mama and all that type of stuff. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Then we get into high school and college, and it's all competition. It's all competition. It is who's going to make the AP classes, who's going to be the valedictorian, who's going to be the MVP, who's going to be the prom king, who's going to get to the Ivy League school.
Right.
It translates into the work world.
Yep.
Who's going to be the partner? Who's going to be the executive VP? So what that creates is a blind focus on competition.
Yep.
And we miss everything out here.
Yeah.
We miss life because we're just competing because we were trained to compete. So the people who have that gut feeling underneath are starting to feel that, like, man, I'm executing this thing, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just getting more debt. I'm buying more toys. It's real.
It's very real. And it's conditioned. You're right. It's that competition mindset.
Yeah.
So when you meet with a professional entrepreneur, and you're talking with them and you're analyzing their willingness, their drive, their passion.
Yeah.
What have you found, if you could name one attribute that really contributes to true lasting change? What is it? And then before you answer that, what's the opposite of that too? What's the number one killer of that progress or change? Hey, there's no reason to learn how to own your role on your own. If you like that clip, go ahead and click right here for another one. Or if you want to watch the entire podcast, go ahead and click right here. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.